A return. Right. Let's do some more things. I now have 122 submissions. A couple of them are for the Friday Live mix, but yeah. Okay, here's a submission from Scott Fisher, not to be confused with Scott Fisher of Image Line. It's actually not someone else named Scott Fisher. And it's a track named Metamorphosis, which I'm absolutely certain that there are not at least 10 billion other tracks named Metamorphosis. That was your first mistake. So that's pretty alright. Some of those synths, like the main sort of like derp 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 thing there, like it could have been EQ'd a bit differently to kind of not strike so hard, so that like it didn't get so repetitive so fast because it just didn't, stick out so hard as much. Um, the groove was pretty good. Like at the beginning, it was very generic, sort of deal. But then cool basses happened, and then I was more into it. So I appreciate that. That's pretty cool. The mix, like it was a bit top heavy. Like the high frequencies were a bit loud, for my taste. So that could have come down a bit, but other than that, it worked out. A bit long, but I mean, what housey track isn't? Oh look, it's Caleb. Caleb lives. He didn't follow those instructions. I'm gonna listen to it anyway because it's Caleb. Already too much compression. the instrumentation was very interesting in this track. It's just that like it didn't really feel like it went anywhere. It's not to say that it needs to. Certain kind of ambient music can work as well, but like I feel like the point like this was driving towards trying to be something that did go somewhere. And it just never felt like it did. Also, certain instruments sounded way like worse than others, like the guitar thing that happened, and also the kind of the drums just sort of didn't hit in a way that I kind of would have liked. It felt a little bit better near the end when the bass kind of filled at the low end. It could have been a bass instrument down there, you know, like a cello or something, or a contrabass. That might have helped. Other than that, that's way too weird for me to really form concrete opinions on, other than to say that what I just said. So neat. Some sort of hard house. Okay, let's do this. And it has a picture of what's her face from Gurren Lagann in it. So I'm cool with that. When your vocal sample is louder than your kick drum, you have a problem. See, I am familiar with what hard house is supposed to be and that kind of thing. So I know that like, you know, now letting it go is sort of vaguely insulting, and I apologize for that. But the mixing is something that you really need to focus on, because I feel like you got the genre down. Like it's more or less what it sounds like, but it's just like it honestly sounds like I'm playing that off of a tape I found in my brother's basement. Like that's the sound quality that I'm getting out of this, and that's not something I would recommend doing on purpose. The mixing really just all the samples need to have not be doing what they're doing. Like some kind of the things that hit harder and clearer and better, and like honestly, the vocal sample is the highest quality part of this entire track, and it's louder and clearer than everything else, and that's just weird. So, yeah, now let's find some soft house. I think soft house is just noise. Eighth Sun, unfinished melodic house. Did I not just say download? I already... The first 7 sounds weren't very functional. Already too much compression. The puppy step is strong with this one. Good on you. I feel like the piano's too low, or like has too many low frequencies involved in it, and like the detunedness of it. It sounds kind of like vaguely honky tonky, and it doesn't really work with this genre. At least not the way that I feel like it would or should. But other than that, it felt pretty good. Like, you know, the compression in the beginning felt like it was a bit too much, but it made sense when the drop came around. It worked out a little bit better when that happened. You know, when there was sidejang. Words. This track is entitled Derp.mp3 with the only description being not a Rickroll. I'm feeling brave.
Hello, motherfucker. Hello, motherfucker.
That's all that was. Well, that certainly you did a very good job at not rickrolling me. Thanks for that. Thanks for not doing that. I can hear how that, like, the arrangement works out. Like, I hear that being something cool. So that mix didn't really work for it. There was almost no high frequency definition. It feels like it was a pre-master. The drums don't hit hard. Other than that, like, if you fix those problems and then get it mastered, that might actually work out. So, good job with that. I don't know about that sample. Seems kind of reaching. Cynics brawl and get down, rar. Sounds like another track from Spun's Cloud. Spun's Cloud. So this is actually a pretty cool track. Like I like the groove, I like the arrangement. What I just hate is how the drums are mixed. In the first part when they first came in together, like full time, it sounded a lot like the kick and the snare were both just toms. That was just tribling it up, and like I was fine and all, but the snare needs some high end. It feels like you low passed the snare and just kind of forgot that you did, and then sort of left it off the rest of the track. And the kick as well needs some high end. They need to click and like fit through things, you know. And also sidechain with the snare, not just the kick. And now everyone in the chat is posting silence. Having fun in there, guys? Somebody asked earlier what the origin of the gay whale meme is. And as I recall, it came about during the 8th live stream that I had ever done. And I was working on a track. This is actually my electro track, Stream Dream, which eventually came out of my first EP, Momentum. And out of nowhere, Sean Law, who I was doing work with at the time, decided he wanted to Skype call me with Muzzy and Buddy Girl in tow. And we did. I was like, oh, cool. This is the first time I ever had anybody on the stream. This is the origin of having guests on the stream. Before I separated it into being the guest live stream. Anyway, I was working on some sound design. I was doing some stuff, and what ended up happening was I had made a sound that I had resampled it in Harmor, and I played it really slowly, and the harmonic sounded a lot like a whale call. And Buddy Girl said as much, and then the chat immediately jumped up on that and was like, "Wow, gay whale," and then I don't know why, someone decided to make a Facebook account called Seamless R's Gay Whales, including a lot of interesting imagery and pictures, and everyone went with it. Every single person. I didn't expect it to happen, and I kind of refused to acknowledge it for a while. Like I wasn't just like, no, you're not the gay whales. I was just kind of like, there's no way. There's no way that my fans would just allow themselves to be called this. But no, they did. They did. So now they're the gay whales. That's what they're called, officially. Yeah. That's also that's where the snail compressor came from. Is because I had built a compressor in Maximus that hit in a certain way that the little drawings of the lines and the output and the oscillator looked like a snail. And Muzzy picked up on that and was like, it looks like a snail. And then everyone picked up on that and went, snail compressor. And so that's what happened. This is the streams are also where Alberton Live came from, if you remember that. There was a Facebook page for a while that was called Alberton Live that just made fun of DAWs in general marketing and EDM marketing. It was kind of funny. I think it got shut down. Yep. That was an interesting time. This is back when the chat just kind of took anything it wanted and made it into some kind of meme. $136 tracks. This guy says, if you play this, I'll give you my soul. I like souls, so let's take it. It's called Whip Spundy. This is going to be amazing. a drop whip. That was alright. The basses sounded exceptionally wet and gooey, and a lot of people were into that. But these days, I'm not so much. I kind of like my crunchy solidness. So that's kind of that's sort of my deal. It was alright though. The melody worked out pretty good. The drums could have hit a little bit better than that, but like mostly the side chaining was like it was too hard for sort of the value that I got out of it. Like they still didn't like punch hard enough through the mix, if you know what I mean. This dude's name is Mitchell Crump. A track called Rain. Which, again, as I'm sure is the only track that's ever been called Rain. Okay, there's a track in there. Fucking spun cloud. That's pretty good, honestly. I liked it. The progression was nice and solid. It felt good. It didn't feel any kind of like weirdness to it. The flow worked out pretty good. The intro was long as hell, and I'm totally into that sort of deal. The beat in the beginning felt it took a while to really kind of get up in there in a way that I was sort of like it's a little weird. But when it did get going, it went places. It went up in my mind, and was like, it's okay. It's okay to be in the rain. It's also weird as shit, so it means that I can't really critique it just because I'm sure that you were doing what you wanted to do. I don't know what that was. I had no idea at all what your influences are. So, good job, but hey, yo, Seamless, play something heavy. Okay, I suppose. Hey, yo, Seamless, play something heavy. So heavy! The alarm scared me. Is that the TS404 patch from my body demo, FL4? Or is that a 303 or 3XOSC? I forget. And it ends. Parts of that were cool. This is the arrangement was weird, and then that one build up in the middle was actually way too awesome for what happened after it. So, and so actually that progression at the end there was actually pretty awesome. I don't know if that's what's happening with the rest of the track. It almost seems like it wasn't, because when I hear it, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. I didn't get that feeling listening to the rest of it, though. So I'm not 100% sure where you were going with that. Consolidate your plans, mister. Hey, yo, write your tracks with a semblance of cohesiveness. This dude's name is Steve, so I'm going with it. That one kick is all we ever need. Now you ruined it. Dat sampler.
Today is a good day to die.
That's how you do a separate sub.
Today is a good day to die.
I think it's Mundus that this is reminding me of off of the Devil May Cry soundtrack.
Die.
A ridiculous compliment. And fade outs. Not a big fan of fade outs. I don't know. I don't like outros in general. I think the kind of music that we make is not really designed to end. Know what I mean? Maximum overdrive. Electro and drum and bass. Link not found. You have failed. You had one job. One job. Deals G money. Apparently finished it yesterday. right. Well, that was really cool. It's just I would have liked it a lot better if the drums had punch. Right at the moment, they kind of blend in with everything, and there's a lot of things to blend in with, and it's very interesting to listen to. And near the end there, it got real solid, as opposed to real fluid and weird in the first half, which obviously was what you were trying to do. So I mean, good job. It's just that the drums hit more. I could have gotten to the beat better because there definitely was a beat, and the beat was good. It just didn't hit much. Yep. Yeah. Burpins. I think you will like this one. No Spun Cloud. Interstellar Euphoria. More words that I'm sure have never been in every title that's ever been written. I can smell that. That's all. That's all it was. You should give that to Monster Cat. That's what you should do. Thanks for that. Father Police 2? Was there Father Police 1? Is this like the police of fathers? Like, there's a police force that only polices fathers? Is that what this is? They never have kids. I hear you, left channel. I could use something out of you, right channel. This is apparently Venetian Snares. Can someone verify this for me? That's great. Thanks for sending me Venetian Snares. If that wasn't Venetian Snares, you spent an awful lot of effort shoving a huge amount of your track into the left channel. So... Granny punching D&B. I'm in on this. Let's do it.
I did. I did. I did. I did. I did. I did.
was interesting. Anti-code minus plus. Stainless track. I'm not so sure about some of those beats. Like the basses were cool. The rhythm was nice. It actually reminded me a lot of older like Face tracks, which is pretty cool. Like the snares that like the beats with the snares that happened like on the kick didn't really mesh well. I felt like it could have used a little bit more jungle in there. You know what I mean? And a bit of those a bit of the that ride. It was very like real obvious near the end there. It felt like there wasn't a huge amount going on top of the bases and stuff, which normally is okay. It's fine. You can keep doing that, but like this, I felt like could have benefited from having something going on there. Some creepy atmospheric bullshit and had to be anything intense. But yeah. In particular, there's a sound in there that reminded me of the track Program, which is a collaboration between Noisy and Face. Program. It's a great track. So yeah, good job. Keep that up. Hey yo, keep playing that stuff. I'm gonna play a trap step track because it's called trap step. It's not actually called trap step. It's called Revival. Revival. Do you feel revived? Right at the beginning of the second drop was really good. It was the perfect contrast between what was happening before, and it really felt like it was a necessary progression of the track. But then you brought back after after two groups of that, you brought it back from the stuff that's happening before, and like that stuff wasn't mixed the same. Like it didn't fit with what had just happened, and it kind of just came out of nowhere. So like I would focus on how that sounded, that part sounded, that the beginning of the second drop, because it worked out pretty okay, right up until it didn't. So the rest of that was pretty neat though. The beginning felt kind of weird, like the sound design was less than interesting, but overall, not so bad. Somebody apparently made some sick neurofunk, so let's see how sick it is. It's called Neurothing. That's all that was. Good job, Mr. Big. Here's a Blaze track. Let's do that. It's less likely to be Spun Step. Sounds familiar. That was an interesting concept. I liked a lot of what was happening. It's just that that main guitar bass synth, actually, pretty much anything that happened during the main parts was way too loud in like the 5K area. It was just like super duper piercing, and like I'm playing it super quiet, and it's still loud to me. So that was a lot. Not only that, but it also like the kick and the snare didn't punch through very much, and the snare itself wasn't super great, just in a way that I liked. Um, the parts that weren't the main bits, I liked a lot. Like I liked the sound design on the metally guitar-y synthy things. Like that was really cool. Like it was, and I also I dug the Amen usage a lot. Um, like this track is a really cool like concept. It's just that like the application of it didn't seem quite there. There is a genre of metal that's pretty similar to this. I don't remember what it's called, but someone did show me something like it, and it was pretty. It's kind of close to this, just a little bit more on the metal side, that kind of thing. So apparently a sub sent me a thing, but I don't know where. I don't know what your name is in the email, so I cannot locate your track. Your track. Your track. Tom Jew. You're one of my students. Master Melodic Trance Step AU7 Lion something. You guys are gonna like this. I think I know what this is. Play. Yep. I don't remember if I ever heard the final version of this. Assuming this is the final version. I found Seb's track. I'll play that next. All right, so Tom is a student of mine, and he's been working on this particular track for a very long time, and it has improved over time, but still some of the problems that I mentioned in the earlier days are still kind of here. It's a lot better. Like, the compression profile of some things is almost perfect, but like on the piano, it's almost perfect, except that there's too much low end, so it gets kind of thrown out of whack a little bit. Actually, there's kind of not enough high end and everything in this track. Everything. The hats are in places are kind of okay. The like the synths and stuff need a more high end presence. Like, just honestly, you can just take a big old, just do that to your EQ, and it'll probably work out okay. Be a little bit more nuanced about than just that, please. And like it's obviously it's very well written. The drops feel a little bit better, a little bit, but the flow is better. That second drop with the boom boom boom, it's kind of neat. Maybe screw around with the rhythm a bit for like some of the repetitions. Just like, instead of doing boom 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 the whole time, all 4 times you do it. What else? The layers of like the vertical layers of your voicing between the progression and the melody when they're playing sometimes interfere with the basses that show up, and it's a little awkward. And the sidechain profile between the drums and like a kick and a snare and everything else, I think it can be opened up a little bit. Some parts of it I feel like it doesn't feel impactful enough just because it doesn't swell much. It just kind of hits and goes and then right into it, and it feels like choppy and weird. Other than that, though, it's a decent track. And I really suggest you just kind of take that into heart for when you work on a new track. All right. Here's Seb Aika. Okay, that was ultra repetitive. It was nice. Like the melody was nice. It's a very good concept. So, like whenever you came up with it, you're just kind of like, oh, this is a really good melody, and you didn't really know where to go from there. I could totally understand that, but you should have tried anyway to go somewhere else. And other than that, like it's basic. Like people mentioned in the chat, it's pretty basic, but it's solid. It's okay. The mix ain't that bad. Like during bits. So like, that part was alright, you know. It could have used like a little more sidechain presence, I suppose, sort of to make the rhythm fit. But other than that, it was pretty okay. Keep doing that. Yes, I only do these once a week. 30-second clip, work in progress, playing it out. Let's do this. It's apparently trance.
I haven't vomited yet, dude.
Nice try. Neurofunk tech step. This is what I think it is. I'm pretty sure I have seen it before. It's not. Strike me as Neuro so much as it struck me as really fast Moombahton. The sound design and the beat kind of fell in line with that, and like it's fine, honestly, it's okay, but it's a little too gushy and crunchy for me to even to be consider that to be Neuro, which is mostly just me being semantic and pedantic and subjective and whatever. It's a neat start though. I like the sound design. To keep up with it, could use more not wet sounding basses. Also, might be a bit low for that kind of stuff. Low tune, you know. Try tuning it a little bit higher to see what that feels like. Pendulum, The Island, Part 1, Sonic Sound Remix. Because I'm going to play that. Immersion Official. Drum Step Whip. V14. Jesus. Hopefully V15 will have as much compression. Is this a DJ set? Oh, good. Oh, good. We can have the bass from Bonfire here forever. All right, so this track has a number of problems. One of the problems is you do that whole speed up RP thing, which serves to do nothing but throw whoever's listening out of the beat. Don't do that. 2, too much compression. 3, the track has like nothing to do with itself. I know in the second half you apparently merge the two together, but it's almost like you're mashing up 2 separate tracks. Like it doesn't have anything. And like I know that this is a style. I know that like, you know, Scare Monsters, nice sprites. It's literally what that is. And I'm okay with that because it's a dope track. But like, even tracks like that, generally trying to make them feel related to each other, you know, at least a little bit. But this track, like, it honestly, not even just like the fact that the sounds were different. Like it was just a mix. It sounded like a different track. It sounded like someone else made that. Which, I mean, maybe they did. Maybe you were a duo. But like, just damn. Also, just like the sounds are getting kind of tired. Just a little bit tired. It does sound like a DJ mix, which is kind of funny. Also, work on the drum mix with everything else. Didn't really work out. Galactic Crime Force. Okay. I'm into some galactic justice. Is that Toast? Whoever made this, I want you to know that I think this is supposed to be a dude's helmet. It looks like a loaf of bread. Okay, because it's a loaf of bread. Alright, so whoever made it, congratulations. You have accurately created a loaf of bread. It also kind of looks like some dude's helmet. Like a Cylon. Guys, it's so analog sounding. About to be a Kill the Noise track in here. I think we need some Slayer lyrics. Galactic Crime Force! Fighting galactic crime. I can't do thrash vocals. I'm kind of okay with that. The drum mix was stupid. It was really bad. Work on your drums. Make some drums work. That's fine. If the beat was cool, that could have been dope. That could have been like a nice like a Laserhawk song. I don't really like about. So okay, I'm looking at the track info as a SoundCloud link, and it says the intro lasts about a minute, so skip to 110 if you want to get to the main part. Don't do that. Don't write parts of your tracks that you were designed to be skipped. Don't give it to someone to be like, you can just like skip this whole best part. It just repeats. Don't do that. Make every fucking second of your song worth listening to. If someone finds it, they better damn well sit through the whole thing because you did something at some point at all points at all times that matters. Don't do that. Don't do it. Or if you're gonna do that, make a separate track. Do the whole like, this is the intro. It's a 2.5 minute interlude in the beginning. And then here's the song, you know. So if I want to skip the first track, it's because I don't want to listen to the first track, you know. It's like the beginning of Slam in Pendulum. It's called Intro because it's a different track. Okay. Oh, that felt good. Tasted good too. That's what I have to say about that. 151 submissions. Putting the finishing touches in this. Big Time Killers, apparently drum and bass. Let's have a listen.
You're in big trouble. You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
Ha!
No.
Fucking shit, lady! Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
This track is 4 minutes long.
Fucking shit, lady! Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
This sounds familiar. Okay, well, whoever made that, this is prime material. Should submit this to Spinnin'. It'll be number 1 no time. I'm going back to the beginning. Stan Riders, Resurrection. Download. Dropbox link. 5.75 megabytes. Resurrection whip. Play. That was the Broken Glass sample from FL in reverse. that was that. That was apparently a whip. That was pretty okay. That was pretty reasonable. Someone in the chat just asked, can we get something more experimental, unique things? I have no idea what I'm playing when I play things. I have none of a clue whatsoever. And we played some pretty wacky shit throughout the course of the entire 3.5 hours that we played so far. So I'd say that we're pretty fine in that regard. That was pretty okay. It got kind of boring during the main drop bits, and then the progression came on. It was a little bit better, but it's still sort of generic-y. It felt pretty alright mix-wise, but kind of zero in on that EQ a little bit, compare it much to, to reference tracks, and just kind of like try and make it fit a little bit better, because I think you could. I think you could make it work. Mr. Writers. Oh, look, here's the first. Here we go. Experimental track. Experimental stuff for Seamless. If this is a troll, I will laugh. Okay, there you go. Your dose of experimental stuff. Here we go. Minimalist house. Minimalist. Period. A few lines. Period. Seat in the back. Minimalist house music. That was a few lines. Seat in the back. Minimalist house. It wasn't that minimal. The mix was okay. The high-end frequencies were a bit too harsh. You could have leaned back a bit on the 2K, 5K area. I personally would have preferred a harder-hitting kick, but I know that's not how Minimalist House is supposed to go. Although it still wasn't really that minimal. Those supersaws were there pretty much the entire time. didn't really leave much room for the track to do anything other than be a super so-y kind of thing, which isn't bad, but it's still not very minimal. I could do radio. Minimalist. 151 tracks. See, I like it when people send their track more than once. It actually like collates them all into a single message. So I see this guy submitted it 5 times, this guy submitted it twice, this guy submitted it 4 times. I'm gonna click on the guy that submitted it 5 times. Sorry, we can't find that track. Great. So, is this a new one? Okay, good. C4R3 official 5 VIP. Arrangement is weird, the vocals are weird, the mix is weird, the stereo distortion on things is weird. This whole thing is weird. This is apparently the VIP. I don't know what the original sounded like. I wonder if it's on SoundCloud. It is. This is apparently future based, by the way. So do you just not like frequencies above 4,500 hertz? Like, is that just how you roll in life? That's just, like, you know. Indeed. This guy's name is Gay Whale. I also play someone else's music. That doesn't work. That's not how that works. Dubstep KXN. Elegant remastered MP3. I hope we're going to hardstyle. I hope this is happening right now. actually be kind of cool if your snare wasn't just a white noise burst. Like, shore up your drum mixing, and that's actually kind of nice. Like it's hooky. It's like the melody and the progression that go with it are nice. So the mix is so weird. This, again, you have some kind of high frequency issues. I think a lot of people do. Just in sort of their mixing environment is not just well suited for that kind of thing. So like, yeah, good job though. Like on the melody and how that worked out. It's actually okay. You know, just work on everything else. All the things. Work on everything else, and eventually you will make a song that doesn't make my face hurt. Yeah. All right. So we got about 10 minutes left before the stream ends. I think this definitely worked out a lot better than demo drop. Still I don't know, I gotta figure out some way to separate subs versus not subs. It's mostly it's actually kind of has to do with the tutorial I made recently about naming your tracks right. Like, you guys are in here and you have one name as your producer name, or even not even a producer name, but your Twitch name, and most of you are not even using your producer names. And then you have an email which doesn't have your name on it either. Like, I know mine doesn't, but that's because my producer name is in my freaking email. It's my name. It's seamlessrg@gmail.com. That's my email. But so like if I'm like, oh, look at mine, I go in the email. I'm like, I don't know which the hell one you are. Like, it's a branding thing. Your name needs to be everywhere and everything anyone can see anywhere, so that no one can question who was who at any point. That's a good thing. Someone in the chat has asked me, do I make music? Yes. Yes, I do. I make a lot of music. If FL Chan suddenly comes out of my computer, what am I going to do? FL Chan being... I'd probably kill her, because that would be bad. That would be freaky. The person who asked me if I make music just asked, do I life? I'm assuming you life, considering you're talking to me. Unless you're a very sophisticated bot. You should just not play the stuff that's not named properly. I would have played 4 tracks today if I only played the things that were named properly. Only puppy step, right? Ha 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 ha. Puppy step. Puppy step. Review the cinematic track. Which the hell one is the cinematic track? They shouldn't be different. They should all be the same. All your names should be the same. Do I live? I might live. I'm reading the chat. I were going to play yours. I might have. That is begging me to play the tracks. I'm done with tracks today. This is me being done. It's a conversation moment. Double seam. Double in, double out. Forgot how to live. La 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 la. 153 tracks. Just spat all over the mic when I tried to say 50. And this one guy keeps messaging me on SoundCloud because he read the instructions. Oh my God. I mean, I didn't have to spam the chat with the link this time, so that's good. People were, you know, they could read the instructions, but they, you know, if they got far enough in the instructions to know that what my email was, but they didn't actually read all the stuff before that, which told them how to do things. Man. I'm not going to answer that question. I know you're asking it for to be silly. How do I have you? Do I have used Ableton Live 9? Do I recommend it? No. No, I don't. Well, I'll be deleting the current list and starting over next week. Yup. On a scale of 0 to 10, how black are you? Me? I don't think I have any black genetics in me at all. So I'm going to go with 0. Check the cameras. My camera's fine. What about Bitwig? Question marks! Question marks! I haven't used it. I have no idea. It doesn't do anything I care about. None of the feature demos have been anything I care about. If a chicken gives me a potato, would I bake it? Probably not. Will I ever do any more Seamless Lives with guests? I have plans to, yes. Any recommendations for mixing drums in the plug, like Studio Drummer? Preferably acoustic drum libraries that allow you to have multiple outs that you can mix individual microphone positions. It's pretty great. Like Superior Drummer or BFD or Steven Slate Drums. What else? There's a couple others. Mostly Superior Drummer is pretty great. Do I prefer hertz or frequencies? You answered bass. Why and how much? 42. What do I have against rhythm? I don't like reverb that much. Like, I don't like that much reverb. If you could add one thing to FL12, a new demo file. When will I do another Seamless Live with Savant? God damn it. At some point, probably. How did I make the vocal on your sometime track? I didn't. That was done by Vila, a woman, because I can't sing like that. And the choppy bits were done by Nucleon, also named Arlo. He's one of the FO guys. Favorite orchestra pack? East West Quantum Leap Hollywood Orchestra. Having a sale right now. You might want to check it out. Any tips on mixing acoustic and electronic drums? Or drums? Carefully. Do it carefully. Valhalla or Fruity Reverb? Both. Any tips on sounds like Puzzage? Listen to his tracks analytically and identify what he's doing, and then do it yourself. Do I prefer crunch or big hall reverb? Church? Oh. If you answered square room, I'm retardedly phasing. Yeah, that happens. If I ever own a snake, and if not, do you plan on owning one in the future? I don't. I actually knew a snake breeder. They're fun, though. I was wondering, since I use Reason, would it still be worth it to take classes for me? That might be a bit weird. I do teach students who use other DAWs that use like Logic and Ableton, that kind of thing. A lot of the stuff I do is transferable between DAWs. You know, a compressor is a compressor, and EQ is an EQ, that kind of thing. It's just how it's routed. Even how it's routed is pretty similar across DAWs, but it's just like visually how it's presented and how the workflow works will be a bit different. So you can give it a shot. Can we have a spoiler on your upcoming toots? I'm actually going to do a tutorial about how to make tutorials. I don't mean by how to do the recording aspect. I mean literally how to do a tutorial in a way and present the information in a way that doesn't suck. Because people need to know. On a scale of 10,000 to 1, what's the 12th letter of the alphabet? L? What's my least favorite famous artist? Nickelback. How did I make the mixing in harmonics and sometimes vocal with the equalizer? I'm pretty sure. What inspired viewer track reviews? Well, actually, Sean Law did that initially, and like at first I was kind of like, I don't know how that will work out, and like copyright and whatever. But when I started streaming now on Twitch, initially I was doing 10 shows a week because I was doing one in the morning and one in the evening. I was trying to think of stuff to do, and I was like, well, I guess I could do viewer track reviews. I did one, and it actually worked out pretty good. So now it's one of my main things. Am I human? I'm assuming so. How did I make the how did you made the mixing and the harmonics on sometimes vocals? I answered your question. What is my least favorite EDM artist? Is Nickelback EDM? Favorite FL Stock plugin? Harmer. Who's my favorite artist? Who's my favorite artist? Who's my favorite artist? Noisia. Giraffes too tall? Nope. GG. Well played. Bobbies or booty? Booty. Mind the bobbies. Why can I still see my synth even though Patcher isn't connected to its out? How do you know it's not? Any tips on an artist making their own sound? I mean, it's just a way of showing uniqueness because all this touch they want to sublime. I just do something sorry. So, like, just make your own sounds. I don't necessarily mean by make something that's totally unique and different from everybody. Just like learn how to mix the stuff that people do normally, and then just make it yourself. Because even if it's just something as simple as a super saw or just some bland ass laser sound that everyone uses, or like the bonfire bass. If you do it yourself from scratch, even if you know that's going to result in the same sound, it'll sound just a little bit different. And if you do that for everything, you'll eventually create your own sound. You'll sound unique just by the fact that you are the one that's doing it. I mean, I don't bash presets, like, you know, I don't like them because I enjoy knowing how to do everything from scratch. But from a practical standpoint, I'm all right with people using presets as a method of creating music because you really technical limitations shouldn't be what stops you from making the music that you want to make. But doing that will make it a little bit harder for you to kind of identify your own signature sound because other people made that and you need to make it. So that's all there is to that. Can you briefly explain the difference between mixing and mastering? I always get them confused. The traditional difference between mixing and mastering is that mixing is literally everything you do to mix the track, and then mastering is where they normalize the levels of tracks so that they sound consistent to every other track on the album on every conceivable playback situation. That's what the traditional idea of mastering is. What it means now is that mixing is where you make the track without master compression, and then you try to make it sound as good as you can without that, and then you take it and then you compress it to be as loud as you can get the sound before it starts to sound bad. That's what that means now. I do both at once. Favorite track from today? I don't remember what it was called. What is my ideal FOV in an FPS? 90. If you had to choose between sandals and slippers, which ones would you resemble? Would I resemble to make a symbol? Either. Why don't you open in the Sawas? How to made the harmonics and the sometimes track. There wasn't really harmonics involved in that. Like, I mean, there are because everything is, but I wasn't using harmony or anything. I mean, you could open it up yourself and look at it. It's kind of there. Have I ever considered doing tutorials fixing problems you see in songs and viewer tracks? That's kind of what this is for. Do I review every song on the viewer track reviews? No. Damn. I've been doing this for a year. My track in G sharp was fantastic. How to create the guitar tone? I will actually do making up for that. There's timing with the label and releasing the tracks on other platforms or whatever, so I gotta wait before they do that, before I can do that. A good exercise for finding your own sound is defining 3 production aspects you like and make sure 3 seconds. That's not a question. Did you see my track in the mail? I don't know. Probably. Will these be 2 separate user videos? Yep. Any attempts on learning how to use compression? I'll find out how to affect things in compression. My track ends up getting cheated. YouTube TLDR compressors and watch that video. It's pretty informative. How much did my first track suck? A lot. Teach me. ... Not a question. Ever considered making tutorials? I have considered doing it. It's something I think about a lot. If I ever use a tracker? Nope. Ever think of releasing somewhere other than Fix? Sometimes. I can see your voice. Also not a question. Do I lift? Yes. I was expanding on your answer, bro. Well, then you probably should have added the person who asked the question. Any scrap tracks you could show us? I've actually went through a lot of them last time. They're pretty much always there. What should I do to learn how to reese better? Understand phase cancellation. Make your growl bass now. Put a separate sub and you're fine. Upload my first track on YouTube. No. Favorite Steam moment? Is that like a shower question? Difference between a compressor and a limiter? Not really any. There is a difference, but it's not important. Will I ever do old school hip hop with electronic elements? Even the oldest school hip hop still had electronic elements in it. I mean, there's a reason why the 808 is in everything. Please play the submission from deleted link. I'm unfamiliar with that artist. Do you sample parts of your previous tracks or of other artists? Nope. Actually, I don't. Oftentimes, I kind of forget that I made a sound and a track that I did before that I liked until I go hear it again later. I'm just kind of like, shit, well, how did I do that? And then, like, I just waste a lot of time recreating things I probably could have just saved as presets. And no, I don't sample other artists. Would I rather listen to a too short or too long track? Depends on what I'm doing. What do I think of Mr. Carmack stuff? I enjoy Doom. What do you think about general rules, boundaries? Think it's fine to completely ignore them. Aside from tempo, of course. Basically, I pretty much only pay attention to tempo. What's my fave real synth? What's my favorite real synth? Modular stuff. How would one go about making a